give you of your sin.
Take it if you believe in God and believe in Genesis to validate your beliefs, but you can also take it to mean that, in fact, the laws of physics take us right back to the beginning of time without God. What you take from it depends upon your religious and metaphysical beliefs, but whatever you say, the Big Bang happened. And I think that's if we could just convince a lot of people of just that simple thing, that the universe is the way it is, whether we like it or not, I think we'd overcome a lot of problems in this country. Have to waste far too much time on that. But anyway, okay, but this is a science talk, although I'll throw in little bits of commentary throughout, I suppose. How do we know the universe is expanding? It's such an important thing, I want to spend a few minutes on that. Well, these objects, these exploding stars, are great standard candles. We can actually observe them amazingly. Even
and he didn't find any fruit. He didn't find any fish. Most of us would have simply gone on our way, not the Lord. See, the purpose of a fig tree is to produce figs. And if it isn't producing figs, it's not worthy of living. Are you with me so far, again?
But what he found was, in fact, that velocity is proportional to distance. Okay? And the great thing is he got the answer wrong by a factor of 10, which was an embarrassment at the time. Again, I'll throw a little commentary in it. Because if the universe were expanding this fast, you could calculate its age, and its age would be 1.5 billion years old. That was in 1929. Now, as anyone knows, if you read any of Richard's books, you would know that, well, by 1929, we already knew the Earth was older than 1.5 billion years old. And so it was embarrassing that the universe was younger than the Earth. One of the many embarrassments in cosmology that's happened over the years. And in fact, taken by some people to once again argue that science didn't know what it was doing. But the problem was, standard candles. We can actually observe them amazingly. And they're remarkable, and I keep having asides. Maybe I'll get to my point eventually. But this is something that I wrote a whole book about, and someone asked me yesterday why I wrote that book. Because it is the most poetic thing I know about the universe. Richard wrote a great book called, what's it called? Our Ancestors? What's it called? Ancestor's Tale, yes. I wanted to make sure I got that right. And I wrote a book that was a different Ancestor's Tale. It was called Adam. But the amazing thing is that every atom in your body came from a star that exploded. And the atoms in your left hand probably came from a different star than your right hand. It really is the most poetic thing I know about physics. You are all stardust. You couldn't be here if stars hadn't exploded, because the elements, the carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, iron, all the things that matter for evolution weren't created at the beginning of time. They're created in the nuclear furnaces of stars, and the only way they can get into your body is if the stars were kind enough to explode. So forget Jesus. The stars died so that you could be here today. Okay? And anyway, this is great. Anyway, so the point of the real point of reason I showed.